we're just thrilled that you chose to spend this evening with us. We hope it'll be informative for you, and we hope it'll be worth your time. We have a pretty packed agenda with lots of updates for you. And so we're delighted you're here, and I'm going to turn it over to Tiffany for some lunch and learn dates and meeting stuff.
All right, so I just wanted to make sure that everyone has the correct dates for our future meetings. We have 2 lunch and learns scheduled, lunch a la carte, and the first one will be November 15th. That is next week. That is Dr. Catherine Diaz-Asper. And then also on Monday, December 12th will be the next one, and that is Dr. Susan Cage. Both of them are pretty recent researchers that are joining us from not too long ago from their grants. So we're excited to find out what they've been up to and get some updates from them. Just as a reminder, that lunch a la carte is an opportunity for anyone, not just Rotarians, to join us for that presentation and learn more about not only our research, but also our organization. So I encourage you to share it either from our Facebook post or from a newsletter or just with your friends that you know, and ask them to join us if they have a special interest in Alzheimer's disease. We would really like to have a large group for those. We do record them and we put them on the YouTube channel afterwards, so you can always go back and watch them afterwards. We've mentioned to you previously that we are going to be creating our first cause-based Rotary Club for Alzheimer's research and awareness. And this meeting, the lunch a la carte every month, is going to serve as one of those 2 meetings that are required for that group every month. And so we will begin this month by introducing a short, brief introduction at the beginning about what CART is, what our connection to Rotary is. And we're going to be inviting some people who have left Rotary over the years and hopefully find a way that we can engage them back in our organization. So if you have specific people that you would like me to send a personal invitation to, feel free to let me know and we'll be happy to do that for you as well. We also have our next meeting of this group, and I wanted to remind you that last month I asked you for some ideas. If you have any ideas for what we might call this, we have gotten a couple of good ideas. Nothing has stuck yet. So if you have a better suggestion for district chairs monthly meeting, because it truly is so much more than that, please let me know. We've heard all kinds of Zoom and all kinds of different meetings. So if you have some ideas, let me know. But the next one will be December the 8th, and that will be on a Thursday evening, again from 5:30 to 6:30. And you will have noticed that we have rotated between Tuesdays, Thursdays, and tonight an occasional Wednesday. We're trying to do our very best to make it as accessible as possible to a larger group of people. We know that some people have meetings on Tuesdays and some on Thursdays, some have church on Wednesdays. And we have learned that there is absolutely not one particular date that will work for everyone, but we do always record this meeting as well and put it on the YouTube channel also. So we will continue to do that. And if you have any suggestions about the name of this meeting, please let me know. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Rod for a few more announcements now. Oh, Norm has a question.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You put all of this on all the calendars, right? All the district calendars.
It's not on your district calendar. It's on the multi-district calendar. If you select IndactDB multi-district calendar, then yes, you'll find it there. And I'll tell you a second place you can find it in a little while too. Thank you. Suzanne, did you have a question? Is your hand raised?
It is. The Rotary Club for Alzheimer's or the CART, can you be an affiliate member since you can only be a member of one Rotary Club? Can you be an affiliate member of that?
Absolutely. And we, because that club has not been formed yet, that is something that we're looking at as part of its organization structure. As an example, that's a great question, Suzanne. Thank you. As an example, there is a Rotary Club of motorcycling Rotarians. It grew out of a fellowship of motorcycling Rotarians. And what they have done is they offer an affiliate membership, just what you asked, so that you can be a member of that club as an affiliate, but still be a member of your home club. What we are looking at doing, just as an FYI, would make that affiliate membership a small fee to do that, but that would cover your dues to be a member of ADRAG, the Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group. So this would be an opportunity for us to help them grow their membership as well as supporters for our organization. So if you are interested in helping to work on that, let me know. But we will begin rolling that out with the monthly lunch a la carte as the first meeting for that. And again, I'm going to be working on inviting previous Rotarians from our district. And if you would like to learn how to do that with terminated, I hate the term terminated members. That sounds very, very negative. But people who are no longer Rotarians, we can help you find those lists in your district as well. Okay.
Tiffany mentioned lunch and learns, or we want you to attend those. We think they're very worthwhile, and we want you to certainly put the November 15th on your calendar. But more importantly, we want you to invite folks. Spread the word within your district, spread the word to non-Rotarians. This is a wonderful opportunity for people to get information that they wouldn't have another opportunity to do. And so just help us spread the word about this information session. And it doesn't matter what you call it. Call it lunch and learn, call it lunch a la carte, or whatever you want to call it, but bring people to it. It's free. Just sign in and listen and learn some things. And there's always some opportunities at the end for you to ask questions. Last month in this meeting, we mentioned the possibility of having the CART Fund annual meeting somewhere besides Columbia, South Carolina. And if you wish to have a location considered, please put forth a proposal to Tiffany no later than December 15th. We want to consider whatever you have in mind, but we're not going to read your mind. We're not going to assume. If you don't provide us with a proposal, we're going to assume that you don't have a place in your district that you'd like to hold the next annual meeting. So bear that in mind. And December 15th is the absolute deadline because we got to get some hotel space allocated for us to have a meeting in May. Spring is the season for pets. There are lots of pets events in the spring. And some of your districts participate in multi-district pet events, and some of your districts have their own. Whichever your district participates in, we'd like to have CART Fund represented at every single pets event that makes sense for the future of CART. And so we're currently verifying dates and locations and cost for each of the events that we think make sense for us to be at. The negative is a whole bunch of these things are on the same weekend. And so we're going to need lots and lots of volunteers. And so we're going to ask some of you to volunteer to cover some of these events. And so just stand by. We're working on the details. And as soon as we get the details worked out, we'll reach out to some of you and say, hey, would you like to volunteer to cover one of these pets events? Some of you have attended district conferences before. I hope all of you have, but I'm sure some of you have. Some of your districts hold the conferences in the fall, and some of them are in the spring. And we would like to have a presence for the CART Fund at district conferences. And so if your conference is in the spring, typically, and you've not already done so, we want to encourage you to speak with your district leadership about having the CART Fund represented at the event. A table in the House of Friendship is wonderful, but a speaker would be even better. And so talk to your leadership about your event if it's coming up in the spring, and let us help you facilitate getting a speaker on the agenda. So that's all I have. Tiffany?
Very good. Thank you, Rod. All right, so I have a couple of quick announcements for you guys before we get into the real meat of this presentation tonight. We have been talking for a while now about our recurring donor program. We introduced that, as we mentioned, at our Baltimore Zone Institute the end of September, and I created this goal that we would have 100 recurring donors in the first 100 days. So we have about 52 days left. That would be December 31st. And as of today, we're at 62. So we are well on our way. I say thank you to those of you who have signed up. If you have not, I encourage you to consider doing that. It is literally a minimum of $5 a month, but you may decide you want to do it quarterly. You may decide you want to do a gift annually. If you don't want that small debit every month, that can be done as well. We are sharing this with people when we go out and make our presentations. And I am excited because I wanted to show you guys a picture of the new pen. I think I showed it to you last month, but I want to share it again as well for those who haven't seen it. This is what the new pen looks like, and it is available as both a magnet and a pen with a back on it. So we're trying to share those for folks so that you have an option. And on our call this evening is Bob Agnew from the Jerry White Pen Company, and he is the one that designed this pen. And I saw that he logged on, so I wanted to give a special shout out to him and a thank you to him. We have 500 of these pens. We're starting to distribute them. If you are following us on Facebook or Twitter, you will see that we have started posting pictures as we're presenting them. We've presented a lot more than the pictures are on there, but I'm trying to get them caught up on Facebook as well. And so Norm was asking me earlier, how are we going to get these out to everyone? And that is an excellent question. It turns out that to mail one pen is almost $4. And so that is really cost prohibitive for us. So I mailed I think 25 pens last week to Rod, and it cost me the same thing that it did to mail one. So we are going to be working with each of our district chairs to find out who is physically able to visit clubs and present these. We have a running list as people are joining. We're trying to do our best to get them out to you guys. If you have not gotten one yet, I apologize. It's not that we do not appreciate you. It's that we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay for the postage. And so, because we really don't have a budget for that. So we will be getting those out to you if you will just hang tight for us. If you are a district governor, a district governor or a district chair who is willing to deliver as many as possible in your district, because some people are more able to get out than others, then let me know that, and we will work on getting you a small package sent to your address that you can help us distribute. So that's what's going on with the recurring donors. Again, we're at 62 as of today. Norm, you have a question?
Is a recurring donor, do you get the pen at $5 or do you have to give $100? When do you get the pen?
Well, you are eligible for a pen if you give a minimum of $5 a month, which is the equivalent of $60 a year. So someone could give $60 or more, a minimum of $60 annually. They could get a minimum of $15 a quarter if they want to do it that way. Yep. Eldon.
I would like my pen. I would be willing to send a check for $10, what you want to send it. I don't know how many other people from our district have done this, probably very few. But if you could, if I send you $10, could you do like 10 of them? And as I distribute them, I'll keep them.
Absolutely. And it's really literally about $5 to send, because I get a discount on postage because of my business. So it's literally about $5. I can send you a package of them. So that'd be great.
Okay. How do you want me to send it?
I don't know. Let's figure that. That's an excellent question. We'll figure that out. But I'm writing myself.
I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. The new website is live. I'm going to actually share my screen because there's a couple of things on there that I want to show you guys. This is the homepage of the new website. And so I just wanted to talk you through a few things on here so that everyone knows what's here and you know what opportunities are out there. So there's the homepage with the video that we talked about before. Under About Us is a list of our board of directors, including our regional chair. So you can find our board of directors. There's a page on our history and support from Rotary, also what track is. There's also a page on grants where you can find our grant history, some of the previous results from our recipients, and the information on applying for a grant. So when folks ask you questions, you know where to direct them. There's a couple of pages I specifically wanted to point out. The news page is where we are adding news stories, things like the recurring donor program, the recipients of our grants. If we get a major gift from an individual or a large gift from a club, something like that. Now, I'm going to say this very clearly. The only way for me to get it on here is for you to share it with me and for me to know about it. So if you will send me an email, and this is going to be true for the next few pages as well, I will be happy to get these things on here for you. Also on this page is a page called Fundraisers and Special Events. This is where you have a fundraiser coming up or a special event that is going to be CART related, not a donation, like the Pinellas Park or something like that, but specifically an event that other people might want to support, then this is where you can find that information. And you will find all of these on here as well. And some of them have already passed, but I thought it was important, Bill Parker, I thought it was important to leave that walkathon up there. So at some point, as we continue to get more, we can take some of the past ones off, but I think it's very well done. The other part of this fundraisers and special events page is a calendar. So if you click on the calendar, not only, and Norm was asking me this question earlier, where you can find this meeting and lunch a la carte, they will be on this calendar as well. So here's today's event. You see, if I hover over it, it shows you all the information for today's event. I've also got lunch a la carte on there as well. And you can scroll from month to month and find that information. The other thing I'm going in there and physically adding are club activities. Like you'll see, last week, Clemson Sunrise Trivia Night, they had their event on November 1st. So I got them on there. We've got the L's for Alzheimer's that the Emerald City Club is doing in upstate South Carolina. And the other thing I'm adding are when any of you all or myself or Rod, any of our executive committee or you all as district chairs, if you are doing a club presentation, if you will send me that information, I'll also put it on here. I think it will accomplish two purposes. Number one, it really populates our calendar. It makes it look like we have more than 2 events a month, which I think is important for potential donors and our supporters to see that we are very active. But also, if someone who is a Rotarian looks at this and they see that there's going to be a club program in their community, maybe they will go and learn more or realize that this is even a possibility and would invite you or someone to come and do that. So I know that Norm has several presentations scheduled. I know that Cara Hamilton has some. Michelle Gracielik has been doing some. I know several of you have these. Susan does a lot. If you guys will email me the date, the name of the club, and the title of your presentation, I will go in and get this entered in our calendar. So that is, I think it's a nice little touch to add. As you have, you can check this anytime. Pretty much as soon as I enter it in DACDB, it'll populate within a few minutes and it'll show up there.
Looks great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Johnny.
I think
Good
it
job.
looks great too. It's very neat and clean, and the logo looks really nice up there. So, you know, I think that you can find what you need to find, and it's easy access and easy to use.
Oh, good. There
Thank
is a
you.
page here. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Norm.
I just said thank you.
Oh, sure. So there is a page here that says donate today. And this is something that you can, it has all the instructions of how to get into the portal. And then the other thing that I added at the bottom is the information about the Roger Ackerman Circle for recurring donors. I need to kind of maybe go in and add another little blurb there about maybe an additional step of how they get more information on that. But I also added the information if someone asks you about how to participate in Amazon Smile, I put that on there as well. And the fact that there might be a corporation that has a matching gift program, and I added that. So I have the space here on the right to add another column. If you think of something, or if there's something specific, we can change that out at any time. Just let me know. I think I know how to go back in and add a fourth one. I'm learning it as I go. It's a brand new program. It's not like the one that we had before. And there are some things that I cannot do, but our folks at DACDB have been really great. I have sent them a ton of emails. They've been very helpful about helping us get stuff on there. There is a contact us page as well that has my information on there and a form that they can fill out. And if they fill that out, it will go to our CART Fund News Gmail address and to me, and I could get back to them right away. We mentioned at one time that one of our goals is to put a quote storefront on here where folks can get the cups, they can get the buckets, they can order logo branded items. That is a work in progress. We're working on that. That'll be one of the next phases that comes up. So I can't remember if we mentioned this last month or not, but the discussion came up that we would like to find a way to recognize, I'm going to call it a volunteer of the year from each district. And we would give our district chairs the capacity to decide who that would be. So we have created an award, and we're calling it our District Changemaker Award. And it's a certificate that we have created in our team's Canva account. And where we can go in and add your person's name, and we can change the district number, and we can change your district signature in there. And then if you don't, and we'll be giving everyone access to that Canva account so you can do it yourself. But if you don't know how, I can do it for you. I'm sure Aaron could too. But it's a template of a certificate where we can change the name, the district number, and the district chair's name. And then you can print that on some really nice paper, and then you can present it to someone. And then of course, take lots of pictures and share it with us so that we can put it on our social media. You saw that one. That is Suzanne Bott's district, but we are going to recognize those people as a change maker for CART in your district, and you have the capacity to do that every year and recognize a new person. Also want to let you know that we have updated the PowerPoint to have the new logo. And so I just finished it this afternoon, so I'll put it in an email to everyone, but I'm also adding it to our files in DACDB and the Canva account so that you guys can just download it as needed. But if someone needs it right away, if you'll just shoot me an email and let me know, I'll email it back to you. I really am trying not to email this entire group more than several times a week already. So I'm going to hold out for a few days, but if you need it right away, you let me know. Okay, our speaker this evening, I'm very excited. You guys know who Terry Weaver is. Past Governor Terry from Greenville, South Carolina, was an integral part of helping us create the online donor portal, which, as you all know, came along at just the right time to save us when COVID hit and we were unable to collect money through the little blue buckets. It has been a work in progress. It is hugely successful. It has been very active, and we are, as you heard tonight, starting to use it even more with recurring donors and things like that. But Michelle Garashielik from District 7670, as you know, is your go-to help desk for the portal, and she is always available to help you. But I asked Terry to join us tonight to go over some of the reports that you as a district chair might want to look at on a regular basis to make sure that you are keeping up with what's going on.
Well, the CART donor portal, like all software, is a continuing work in progress. It's a little bit like trying to change the tires on a moving car some days. But what we set out to do here was provide a way that we could take the heartbeats out of making these contributions and adding them all up and keeping track of things, which was the core strategy for the portal. It was built around, of course, the idea of facilitating the collection of loose change by the clubs, and the clubs then being able to directly deposit those funds with us and take the CART chairs out of that kitchen table money counting business, which we have by and large successfully done, except where we have failed to push it back to the clubs when they continue to send us checks or whatever. So I think we need to step up that effort and continue to help the clubs do what we need them to do. And I think the best pitch for that, frankly, is this is a volunteer organization. And you sending a check to another volunteer creates work for another volunteer. It would be so much easier if you just did that process one time yourself and then take all the rest of that out of there. It's to some extent about mutual respect of other volunteers, but not everybody sees it that way. So maybe that's an idea that you can use in terms of suggesting to clubs why they should figure out how to use the portal and take you and your kitchen table out of that process. So that said, what I was invited to do tonight was to go over some CART reports with you and maybe give you a little bit of a guided tour of some reports that you may or may not have come upon on your own. So what I'd like to do is just start in the portal. I've already logged in, and I have the ability to switch my identity to someone else. So I'm impersonating our District 7750 CART Chair, Cara Hamilton. And that's for the reason that I want to show you exactly what a district CART chair would see rather than what I might see as an overall administrator. So these are, of course, the items on the left-hand navigator that you would see, and the page opened here to the identity switch. Normally it would open, of course, to your home page. Let's take a look at reports. That's the topic of conversation this evening. And I want to start with what should be basically your mainstay report, which is the CART Club Management Report. And when you click on that, it defaults to your district and your club because you told us that when you created an ID or you came in through the DACDB login. We know that you're from District 7750 in the Anderson Club. And so what we provide you was essentially a snapshot. Now, we'll talk about goals in a minute. So we can ignore that column so far, but what we have is CART per capita based on the updated quantity of members as of July 1st this year, and the current year contributions of this club of $714. It also compares that to the prior year total and the prior year year to date. I think that's something important. What this is a snapshot of where that club was as of this date a year ago, which was at 0. So, they have accelerated their contribution process, which is exactly what we asked them to do. And so they've contributed $714 already this year. Partially having the CART chair in their club may have had something to do with that. But actually, as you look across the entire all districts, now you can, of course, switch to your district and all the clubs in the district. I should do that first. And what that does is expand that report so that you see all those same columns. And what you'll notice, and this is not unusual in 7750, thankfully, due to some of your efforts, I think, you see a lot of situations where the current year to date is substantially more. All of these have current year to date contributions, none of which had any contribution year to date last year. That's huge forward progress. So we're starting to get clubs into this idea of contributing monthly or at the least quarterly. They can do it online. It doesn't cost them anything. So I think we can continue to push that initiative. Now, you are able to take a look at other districts. And so they open up just as you would expect, one right after another. Or you can, if you're in competition with another district, why you can pick, for example, our sister district 7770. That might be a place to look. You can also get there a couple of other ways, but you can kind of experiment yourself with this navigation and figure out how you can best use these reports. The primary objective, of course, is to figure out who's contributing, and by virtue of the year-to-date comparisons, what their pace is with respect to last year. I'll point out also 2 icons up here at the top. One of them is this spreadsheet icon. If you click on that, you get this exact same report extracted as a spreadsheet, meaning that you can manipulate it yourself. And if you're trying to send a message, say, to a particular area, you can neck it down to just the clubs in those areas, or you can broaden it out, maybe add some other components here that you think is important to communicating with the clubs. There's also a printer icon, obviously. And that's another way to distribute these. If you can't get the clubs to go get these reports themselves, you can distribute these. And one of your options is it defaults to saving a report as a PDF, meaning that you could then email that to anybody and they'll be able to open it. Maybe not so true of a spreadsheet. And I think our format here would be best if you have a question for me, since you, as you know, you kind of go blind when you're doing a screen share. I can't see the chat. I can't see any of you. So if somebody has a question, just unmute and interrupt me, and I won't be offended. Any questions so far?
Do we have
Terry,
I do. Do we have the ability to delete a club if it's no longer a club?
You can send that request into support, and we can do that. Yes, we can turn a club
Okay,
off.
but we cannot do that on our end, though.
No.
Correct. Okay.
And I
Thank
think this is filtered for zero. I think 0 member clubs are automatically filtered out of this report, if I recall, but I could be wrong. Oh, here's suppress clubs with 0 members. Check that
Okay.
box and those just disappear. But if you want us to remove a club, we certainly can.
Gary, how often do they update the club sizes? Because I've run into a lot of clubs, and that kind of affects the per capita. And the second question is the CART goal amount. Are we going to have a standard CART goal amount, or is it by, do you use your own judgment?
Let me come back, Norm, to the question about the goal. What I'll say right now about the club size is that these are the club sizes as of July 1st, 2022. It's the most recent year, July 1st. And
Okay.
those have been reloaded from the Rotary International site. These are the right numbers.
Okay.
But it's July 1st, and that's locked, which means that, if you add some members, it doesn't dilute your per capita. likewise, if you lose some members, it doesn't enhance your per capita either. It's locked in on July 1, just like the Rotary Foundation reports.
Okay.
Good question. Anybody else?
Hi, Terry. I'm Natraj, and I'm new to this the whole process here. So I got some very fundamental questions, which is I'm in the process of getting my feet wet in this arena, and how do is this what I'm seeing in front of me? Is that the equivalent of the coins that people were donating, or is this separate?
This is the amount of those coins that clubs have counted up and actually sent the money to CART.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
So
this is money we have in the bank.
Okay, so
but of course it's allocated to the clubs and the districts according to the way they sent it to us.
Got it. So as CART district chair, I would solicit, get each of the clubs to become member or access the portal and start contributing their amounts directly to the to this.
Exactly. And that's very simple to do. If you want to do an offline tutorial on that together, why we can do that. Michelle can help you with that easily.
And the second question I have is I tried getting into the CART funder, but I don't think I'm in the database. So when you were just explaining when Tiffany was explaining the cartfund.org site, and it had a donate, and there it gave instructions. So I guess I should go in and create my own profile, right?
Actually, you should log in through your DACDB profile.
Terry, he's in Milwaukee, so we had to add him. So that's the difference there. So
yes, you can create your own profile just like you would in Rotary International.
Okay.
Okay.
But we do have his information in the portal for them to be tracked as well, I think. So
great.
And can I add one thing because someone asked me this week, there was an excellent question that Natraj asked about, is this the money that people are donating through the buckets and that kind of thing? It's also if someone makes a donation online and it gets attributed to their club and their district, as well as if someone is a recurring donor, once they sign up, those are always going to be counted towards your club and your district.
Right. If people tell us their club and their district, then that all rolls up beautifully. And even if somehow that doesn't happen, that's repairable after the fact, if we recognize it. Okay, I wanted to look at a couple of other reports. One of those was the contributions log. Now, this is something new and different. This was available only on an administrative basis, and we realize that you may need this. But I want to clarify that what this is a troubleshooting tool. I wouldn't suggest you go to it's under administration over here on the left. I wouldn't suggest you use this as a reporting tool because that's not what it is. This is a troubleshooting tool, and it has several capabilities because of that. First of all, you can pick date ranges. You'll notice that on the other reports, it's just a fiscal year or a contribution year. And so you can pick a begin and end date if you want to neck down on something. It opens to, in this case, we were already set for all districts and all clubs. We can change that back to 7750, all clubs, and you'll notice it defaults. You can even neck this down so it shows individual contributors. So if you've got somebody that has asked you about a contribution, you know their name, you can simply pick them out of the list and have a report that's tailored just to that person. The other thing I wanted to mention is the search, and the search works on either of two things. It either works on a username, such as Jenny Townsend, the secretary of the Greenville Club. So I just start typing her last name, type ahead, and then we've grabbed all of Jenny Townsend's contributions. These are on the part of her club, again, through the blue buckets. Or you can search an amount. Now, I want to point out how this works. If you were looking for an amount of, say, $548, If you put 548 up in this search, a curious thing happens. You do see some hits, but it's because it's searching on the transaction ID. This is the transaction number, essentially the database ID number of a transaction. So that doesn't help you so much. But here's a power user tip and trick. Now, I'm not sure exactly how to do this on a Mac, but it's certainly possible. But in Windows, if you use the Control key on the lower left-hand corner and F, think find, a little window pops up and you can enter a text number. Now, what I need to do is get back to take this search out of here and get back to the refresh. Okay, so now I'm looking for 548. Sorry, search on another. We're looking for 96. We get a hit on 9616 right here in the first column. If there were other 96s on the page, which there are, you'll find them down in here. Some of those are in amounts or not. But if you're searching for a particular amount that somebody says is missing in action, that's one of the ways that you can search any page on any website using the features in your browser, that's Control F or find in most browsers. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was if you scroll down to the bottom of this is all clubs in 7750. If this is July 1st to today, if you scroll down here, this is a lot bigger number than we saw over on the other page. This is $19,650. Why is that? That's because this is a transaction report. And it includes transactions even that may be attributable to other timeframes. So for example, we had a transaction that backdated to 21-22 that was done in July, but it was actually allocated to the CART year 21-22, and that was made during this time frame, so it appears in this report, but it is not a 22-23 transaction. Here's an Anderson transaction for 2021. That was made in July, so it's in this report because of the date filter, but it was actually a 2021 contribution, not a 2022-23. All I'm trying to illustrate here is that this page, what's called the contributions page, that is in here for finding and troubleshooting and figuring out how something went astray or got missing or got applied to a different club. Any questions on that before we move along?
Yes. I was looking at myself the other day to see what my contributions were, and I actually went in through this, and it did not show the recurring contributions that I've started, but it showed everything else that I've done personally.
Like your cable company, we're working on it.
Okay. Will that show it? Will that pick it up eventually? That the stuff that's already been put in?
Yeah.
Okay.
What the queries that built this report were clearly looking for something made by a user ID, meaning through a keyboard. Right. And so we need to go pick up those recurring contributions, and they'll appear the same way. Those do appear, by the way, your recurring contributions do appear in the roll-ups for the club and district.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I actually kind of use this, and maybe I'm using it wrong, but I kind of use that through the year to see where I'm at for my tax deductions as well, for my charitable contributions through different organizations that I've donated to. So
it's a real handy way to do that. And if we had all your contributions in there, it'd be even more handy.
Yeah, Terry, one thing I have found with the Golden Bucket contest that I have for all the clubs, and like a lot of the districts, like they have the Golden Spittoon things, they're competing. So that report that I send to them quarterly to see where who's in the lead, blah blah blah, comes in handy. Yeah. Getting that they will compete. They don't like to lose to other clubs.
And that's part of why this was built this way. You can if that was a 90-day window anytime during the year or however you configure it, you can pre-filter that start and end date, and then of course hit it to an Excel spreadsheet up here, meaning that you can then sort it by club and add things up. And yeah, you can This is kind of a power user sort of back end for those kind of purposes.
Right.
And this is the report. This is the report that I use every day. It's Michelle that I use every day to make sure that contributions were properly entered. So if you get an email from me, I'm going back to this report to say it didn't complete or it did complete or we got a message.
Okay, one final thing then. The question was asked about goals. And you get there through the My Club Goals port over here. Now, you as an administrator, of course, you have a view of many more than your own club goals. But in District 7750, which is where CARA is, let's take a look at the E-Club, because that's they've done a nice job of goal setting, so it's a little more interesting report. And so what we have here is in the blue line. If you mouse over it, you'll notice the values pop up. The blue line is their historical goal setting for the past 5-year window. And they didn't set a goal up for 18-19, but in 19-20, 21, 22, and 23, they flatlined basically at a goal of $2,000. Now, if you're working with a club and you see this, for example, you might be inclined to challenge them to step that up a little bit. And part of that goal setting process is we give them some data up here, and it's I think really important data. What it is their actual contributions for each of those prior Rotary or CART years. And then we calculate their best prior year, which of course is 2018-19 in this case, and show them their best prior year per capita. The idea here is you guys can do this. You can do 115 per capita as a club. And then they have the prerogative of setting their goal down here below. Now this works you may have seen mortgage calculators that work this way. You can either set a per capita, you could have set this at say 120, and it would have calculated the club goal based on the starting membership count. Or in this case, they obviously fingered in 2000, click calculate goal, and it back calculated the per capita goal. So this is the idea of kind of giving people a little bit of a prompt in terms of goal setting. Now, what I will mention is that, we're a legacy organization. And to my knowledge, Roger Ackerman was really never big on goals. It was about throw what you can out of your pockets into the CART bucket. And it's up to us as CART leaders to continue to propagate this across more clubs and more districts. On the other hand, I do have some CART chairs that have very successfully done goal setting campaigns with their clubs, tried to get them to set goals and then pay attention to those. So you can play it any way you want. It's completely up to you. If we take a look at that report, then the roll-up is the club goal setting summary. And so you can see which of your clubs have set goals and which haven't. So the current CART goal was over here. You'll notice in my district, that's somewhat few and far between. We've not been a huge CART goal setting promo type of district, but you can get there incrementally if you wish. Once you get clubs to doing that, then it's not too hard to keep them doing that. So you'll notice the clubs that have set goals here, and notice the way they did it. This club, Emerald City, Lorraine's club, for example, set a $96 per capita goal and let the math fall out at $6,600. The Greater Anderson Club, they set a goal of $2,000, just like the E-Club did, and that back calculated to $30 a head. So you can think about this as leaders of CART and see if you want to pick a bogey. For example, the Polio Plus bogey, I believe in our zones is either $45 or $55 per head. I forget which, but it's in that zone. And, that would be kind of in the mainstream really of CART per capitas, which are not bad in clubs that are participating. So you can decide how you want to play that, but it is this report, the CART club goal setting summary, that gives you an idea of where you are right now. And then there's, of course, a quick and easy button up here to get to set my club goals. And you have then the choice of, if you just want to have people tell you what their goals are, they don't have to go through the learning curve of figuring out how to find this one page. Then, of course, you can pick any club, scroll down and fill in their goal for them, just as you can do in other applications.
Terry, what I have found is the per capita. I have two awards, the most giving club
Mhm.
and per capita.
Yeah.
That gives the smaller clubs a chance to be recognized.
Yep.
With 20, like this year, the one that won my most giving gave $4,500. The one that won the per capita only gave $2,300, but they were only 20 members. So
Yeah.
their number came up.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful report.
Yeah.
Thank
You can play both sides of that street for sure.
Our guest for the fundraising idea of the month, he and I have been texting each other. Trevis Hicks is on here from the Rotary Club of Murphy, and I'm going to ask him to share it with all of you in about a 5-minute span. And then after that, rather than go into breakout sessions, we'll have some additional time for questions for either Trevis or Terry. How about that? Good.
One of the things that when I started as our club president that I wanted to do, we had our cart buckets going out on the tables every week and that type of thing. And more and more time passed and we saw that, going away because so many people were using cards and that type of thing. But one of the things that I recognized was that we were missing an opportunity. Instead of just a weekly opportunity, we needed something that was a daily opportunity. And so what I did, instead of, we still put our cart buckets out every week and that type of thing. But one of the things that I did, I created cart jars. And those jars, Tiffany's holding one up there now. I just took good old fashioned mason jars and printed some labels for them, put the cart logo on there, and then up at the lid, around the lid, I put a little funny saying that, says I love money that jingles, but I like money that folds even better. And sent that home with all of my members and had them put their pocket change in there every day. So every day, when they would come in and they were getting ready to bed down at night, they could drop their coins in there. And then we decided, on when we would bring all of that in together, and we did what we coined as the coin drop. And with the coin drop, what we were able to do, I brought in a 5-gallon bucket into our first meeting. You can see Tiffany's holding that up as well. And the Lowe's buckets are perfect because they're already blue. And so I didn't have to do a whole lot of relabeling on them. And so I brought the bucket into the meeting and had everybody bring their jars in. And we still do this quarterly now. And they bring their jars in and pour the change and the money into those buckets. And it was really an eye-opener moment when we did that first one and people were dumping these jars in and you're hearing that money go in that bucket. Just that sound, really kind of made you think about what good you were doing with it. And we have folks that were bringing in change that they had collected even for years. They brought it in, out of their in socks. They had it in Tupperware bowls. They had it in anything they could put it in. And so they not only had the little jar that I had given, but they had other containers of coins that they were bringing in, and we dumped it in there. And that first coin drop that we did filled the 5-gallon bucket almost to the top. It was down maybe about 1.5 inches from the top. And just that 5-gallon bucket. Of course, I had brought in some hand trucks to be able to take this out and take to my bank. My bank allowed me to use their Coinstar machine and didn't charge me to use that. And so when we ran that through, we had a little over $1,800 just in change from a 3-month period of doing just the coins in the jar. And so it made a huge difference in what we were bringing in. I think in the past years, CART had brought in through our club maybe $500 a year or something like that. And with this project, within 3 months, we had already tripled what we were bringing in. And so it has really made a difference and an impact in our little club and has done really well. And so we just continue to do that daily. I mean, I truly do it daily, And you can get jars. This is a jar that I picked up, I think at like a Dollar Tree, and you can get these for like $1 and stick stickers on it. I took a 10 snip, cut a little slot in the top. Super easy to do, and it really made a huge difference in our little club. We had about, at that time, we had about 25 members that were contributing. Now we're up to about 60 members in the club, and they're all, when they join the club, they get a coin jar, a cart jar. That's one of the things that I give them as part of their entry into the club.
This club has truly just risen to the top in our district because of this, and they've won several of the awards. But I really thought it was very innovative on Trevis's part, and I wanted him to share it with you personally. We do have, obviously, we've changed the logo on those Lowe's buckets now to our new logo, and I have the old jar still sitting in my house with the old logo. But any questions for Trevis?
Where do you have your decals made up for your big buckets?
Okay, I actually do those here at the school where I work. I work at the community college. And so I have the capabilities here within the school just to print off the logo, and then I'll laminate them. Actually, the easiest way that I have found to put it on there is I get the spray-on glue at Lowe's. It's like a Elmer spray-on glue. Spray it right on the bucket, stick the logo on there, and it's there to stay.
So I'll just add that we use these as the display in Baltimore. And so this is an 8.5 by 11. That's the easiest thing to do. And because of the shape of our logo, and I just added the website underneath. So on one side, I have the horizontal version of 8.5 by 11. And then I printed the QR code on the other side in 8.5 by 11. And it literally covered up all the Lowe's logo. I'm sure I'm probably in trouble for that with Lowe's, but those are, and then I laminated them and taped them to the sides. Norm.
Really is super
Your other
easy.
option is you can buy 8.5 by 11 Avery labels,
Yes.
pre adhesive.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I did with labels for my jars. I just used address labels, an Avery address label, printed it, stuck it on there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Trevis. We are
Oh,
running short on
absolutely.
time. So I just wanted to add that I put a link in the chat. And when I put this on YouTube, I will put a link underneath the comments. There is a video that we did about their coin drop back in the first time they did one, and it's on YouTube. So I put that link in your chat. If you want to copy that, put it into your browser so you can go back and watch it later. It's really exciting to watch all their members. And I've been at a lot of clubs that are doing it now. So thank you, Trevis. But I just wanted to say thank you to our guest, Terry Weaver, and to Trevis Hicks for all that you contributed tonight. It's really helpful for us to hear from them directly. And don't forget, our future meetings are in the DACDB calendar. And if you sign up for those and register, you will get the reminder emails with the link for the Zoom and the agenda as well. All right. I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.